a lot of the guys at Penn State have a very similar mentality, like you kind of were kicking off the show with. What do you think about that in regard to the expansion of wrestling? Do you think that that helps the sport grow forward, or do you think it kind of like keeps it even keel?
I think that that's tough because I myself, I don't know. I don't have like a equation in my head of how to grow wrestling. I think that like you'd look to a guy like Bo Bartlett and kind of how he brings two worlds together. He brings like life and like doing other things into wrestling, which helps it grow. But like you look at like a guy like Bo Bassett, and he's gotten popular from just solely wrestling and like his workouts and stuff like that. So I think that I think the mindset, yeah, like definitely would help grow wrestling, but I think that it'd be tough for other people to accept it because I know kind of how hard it was for like myself to accept it. Like coming from like growing up like such like wrestling's like everything, like win or lose, die for the sport, whatever, into this mindset that's like, hey, we're just having fun. It was hard for me to accept. So I think that like if you tried to use that mentality to grow the sport, I think that it would work, but the hardest part would getting other people to accept it, like other programs and other coaches. I think that especially like there's still a lot of coaches I feel like that came from like those old Iowa teams and stuff that like are like that really like nitty gritty like mindset and stuff. So I think that like it will take, I think, some years to grow into that mindset. Like some people will have to be out of the sport in order for like that mindset to even take place, I feel like.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's people at Penn State that are kind of like, they have the Stoke mentality. Like all of you guys kind of have a very similar mentality. And there's guys like AJ Ferrari that like, flick people off and do the splits on the mat, which is one way of doing it, is one way of growing the sport. But I just think it's interesting that there's like, from an outside, like I never wrestled. So the outside looking in.
You never wrestled?
No, believe it or not. What? I know, it's crazy. The viewers were actually like, how would you not win a national championship?
That's crazy,
like,
man.
I don't know.
We're like 3 for 4 here.
I think that taking like AJ Ferrari's like antics and stuff into wrestling, like I think that it definitely gains like a type of viewer, like I think that it would pull some of the fans from MMA into wrestling because I think that it's like close, like it's not like that similar, like nobody's getting punched in the face, but like I feel like if there was more
showmanship.
Yeah, showmanship. I think that it would be more popular, but it's a hard sport to like get that into because I feel like it's such a humble, like wrestling is so humble. Like you share the mat with a guy for 7 minutes or longer, and it's just a lot of respect. And you're not going out trying to punch someone in the face.
For sure.
So I think that I think it'd be tough.
Yeah, it'd
be tough to bring that kind of into wrestling.
I think that the humbleness and the respect is like such an important thing. I think more people would. I think that wrestling people gatekeep wrestling a little bit. It's almost like if you go to we should want people that know nothing about wrestling to watch the sport, and I think that most people would appreciate the tactical battle and like the physicalness of it combined with like the post-match humility, respect. I don't think that that's like a unattractive thing to people, but I do feel like in some ways wrestling they don't allow people who are like new to the sport to like come in. It's like a little like cliquey, I think that if it was just more of an open thing where it was not such a cliquey, gate-kept mentality, right? Like it's almost like if you're a wrestling person and somebody comes to a wrestling match and doesn't know what it is, a lot of people aren't trying to like help explain what's going on. It's like, oh, like what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't watch this. And it's like, they want to see the sport. Like we should be promoting that.
I agree.
And if they do something that like would be entertaining to like the outside world, they're like, oh, that's not
shut it down. Can't do it. And it's like, dude, like let people figure out whether show the personality, and like if they're humble, respectful, quiet, like you can get behind that, and the same other people can get behind the guys that are louder, right? Like it's like you need that, right? And I think that you shouldn't tell people how to act, and then people that become like kind of interested in it, it's like don't gatekeep it, like explain what's going on and like promote it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think that it can be promoted a lot better than what it is. It's like it almost seems like they just want to hold on to what they have.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, we have this like tiny little niche community. Let's like hold on to it and keep people in the sport rather than like get new people involved and stuff like that. I don't know.
I agree. I feel like the people that should be growing wrestling aren't the people that are trying. I feel like we have I feel like we have guys like Bartlett, for example.
Yeah.
Like I think that he's doing a great job, but I feel like he shouldn't be the one taking the lead on that.
Yeah,
you know?
It shouldn't be on his back to like carry. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I don't have the equation. I'm not quite sure. Because I was always kind of a guy like under the radar, not that many followers, not that many this, whatever. So I think that I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take advice from me trying to grow the sport.
I think it's cool to like see the emotion of the sport come out a little bit more. Like with your big win, you know, a little bit of a celebration at the end, or like K-Sack, like raising his fist after lifting the guy up from Iowa. Like I think that helps the sport a lot because then it's like the one shot or the one clip that gets posted on social media. But then, like you were saying, it's the wrestling connoisseurs that are like, that's kind of out of line, which is weird in my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough because I think that like after I celebrate, like usually whenever after I celebrate, after I come down from that, I'm like, coaches, like telling the coaches I'm sorry, like, you know, like I don't know what happened out there. Like, in the Michigan match specifically, I remember like after I got the reversal in overtime, I looked up at the clock and like saw that there was 3 seconds left, and then I just remember walking in the back with Coach Mike. Like I completely blacked out for a second.
Wait, what just happened?
So I think that like that stuff's cool and stuff, but it's like a new era to wrestling. Like I think that will start popping up more and more. Like you see Ferrari, like after every match now he does like the splits
I know.
or like, you know, whatever. It's like it's like a funny thing.
I just feel like I think everybody should be allowed to be themselves. But I like the roots of wrestling where if you have a big win, you got a signature moment, like do your thing.
Yeah.
But if you throw down a kid from whatever, blah, 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 and like pin him, it's like, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I think the big moments are special and you should celebrate them in a special way.
Yeah.
You know, but there's also, 30 matches a year and you got to act like you've been there before a little bit. I don't know. There's a balance. But if you want to celebrate after every single win, then,
I did not do everything. No, you got to ride off the energy of the crowd too. Like if the crowd's acting like they expected it, then I expected it. But if they're like pumped because you pinned the number one dude, it's like I'm gonna give the people what they want. You know?
You give them what they want even when they're not asking for it. You know what they want better than themselves.
I like what Mitchell does. Like after every win, like crowds chanting, he'll like go like a little pump it up or whatever. But it's
Shane's
not,
got the bow, like they got little things.
They got their signatures. Yeah, it's good.
I think the 30 seconds leading up to the match and the 30 seconds after is a really fun time to show your personality because like you
pull
said,
your straps down a little bit.
Like give a full show because like during the match, like you said, you can't really do much. Like you're in the freaking grinder. Like in fighting, you have more breakaways to where there's like you can do whatever you want, but wrestling, it's just like you're in a freaking
super fast.
Yeah, too. And I think like as athletes, like I kind of take this mindset that we're all like artists in our own way, like technique wise, and who we are as people. Like you said, 30 seconds before, 30 seconds after. But like sometimes like your best chance to be an artist is after the match or like with your walkout music, whatever.
Yeah.
So
dude, you have some good walkout songs too.
Yeah, I've been using I Love It this year. It's been fun.
That's good.
That was
good. If you guys like that clip, check out the whole podcast here and make sure to hit that subscribe button.